Hey guys, it's John here from Sonic Drive Studio with a brand new episode of John's Tone Chronicles. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, as it's been months or maybe even a year or so, but I really like the concept of this show because it's a simple and straightforward way to just create some awesome guitar tones and talk about the gear I used and how I dialed it in, etc. So in John's Tone Chronicles, I basically write a miniature song with a bunch of riffs that fit together, and I play them on a suitable and killer guitar, and I put that guitar through a killer and suitable amplifier plus a suitable ownhammer impulse response, and voila, killer tones. And then I briefly go over the gear that I used, so the guitar that I used, the pickup, the amplifier that I used, and the settings on that amp, and the exact ownhammer impulse response. And today's video is all about thick, black, and dark, filthy rock tones with my ESP LTD Phoenix Black Metal and my new, yes, brand new orange Dark Terror. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a listen. Here we go. So now let's talk about the gear that I used, the settings, and the entire signal flow. Here we go. Now, of course, all of this starts with the guitar, and for this one I used one of my new favorite guitars, and it's my recently acquired ESP LTD Phoenix Black Metal, which is very cool. I've already made a full review and demo video on this guitar on the channel, which you can check out here and down here as well if you're interested. In short, some of the main features of this guitar. So it's basically the ESP LTD version of the Gibson Firebird, and it's a single pickup guitar, so just one pickup in the bridge position, which is very cool in my opinion. I love the simplicity of that. And this pickup, of course, is a Fishman Fluence modern pickup with a single volume control, and of course you can switch the voicings by pulling up the volume control as well. It's a great sounding pickup in this guitar. I really like how it sounds, and for this particular song I used the active voicing. Basically because it sounds a little bit more tight and boosted than the passive voicing, and it's a voicing that tends to work really well with this orange amplifier because this one sounds very thick and juicy, so this guitar cuts through very nicely. This guitar has a mahogany body with a 25.5-inch mahogany neck, and we have a neck through construction going on here, which is something that I love in a guitar. So it has a great natural tone and a great sustain because the wood itself sounds very nice. So basically it's a killer guitar that I love playing, and as you can see it's black. It's very, very black. I thought it would be a great and very suitable guitar to combine with my orange Dark Terror, and I think it turned out very well. So yeah, I can't say this enough, but I love this guitar and I highly recommend it. Even if it looks kind of quirky and unique, it's a shape that I've really come to enjoy. So the amp that I used is my orange Dark Terror, my brand new one to be precise. Take a look at this little beauty. It's such a cute but brutal little monster. This is an interesting amplifier to me because I used to have another one that I used in a bunch of videos, and I got rid of that one because for some reason it always sounded a little bit off to me. I don't know why, but to me it always sounded way too fizzy and scooped. It sounded really weird and I never could get it to sound good. So I got rid of that amplifier last year, thinking that the Dark Terror just wasn't the amplifier for me. But then later I was watching some videos on YouTube by some other great YouTubers, and I realized that the amplifier sounded quite great in their videos. So then I started to think, and I realized that my old one probably was broken, or something must have been wrong with it, or either with the amplifier itself or with the tubes, I'm not sure. Anyway, so I bought another one, and wow, this one sounds absolutely killer. So I finally get to experience the Dark Terror in its full potential, so I'm very stoked about that, and I'm very happy to have this little beast back in my collection. It's a very simple high-gain orange Terror head, so it's basically a mini or lunchbox amplifier. It's a 15-watt amplifier with two EL84s in the power section, just as the Tiny Terror, and it only has 3 simple controls. I really like the simplicity of the small orange amplifiers. It's just something that really works well for me. Just the orange tone of the gods with a couple of basic controls to fine-tune the sound, and no unneeded bells and whistles. We have a volume control, a shape control that controls the EQ of the entire amp, a gain control, a power switch, and a standby switch that also lets you select the wattage, either 15 watts or 7 watts. The shape control is a way to control the entire EQ curve of the amplifier with only one knob. So basically when you turn it all the way to the left, it sounds very MIDI and kind of dark. And when you turn it all the way to the right, it sounds very, very scooped and bright. And then you have all those shades in between, basically endless shades in between. So that's a very powerful control indeed. It's sort of limited in a way, of course, because it's only just one control, but I love how powerful and elegant it is. And I personally like to set it somewhere in the middle, usually a little bit past noon, because to me that's where it sounds the best. And for this song, level is set to about 1/3, and the gain control is set to about 2 o'clock-ish. And there certainly is plenty of gain on tap in this little beast. And the amp just has that very typical thick, syrupy, juicy and fuzzy orange tone. I really love that orange sound, and it's kind of obvious because I have 11 orange amplifiers, and I know it's not for everybody. And I guess that once you love it, you really love it because it's really unique. And let's face it, uniqueness is a good thing in art and music, especially nowadays, I think. So the amp is going into my Fractal Audio LB2 reactive load box, a very nice load box that does the job just perfectly. It really responds like an actual speaker, so the response, the feel and the sound is just very realistic and it sounds great. And that signal is being fed into my XFX3, which I also use as my USB sound card, and in that I load my ownhammer impulse response. No, not an orange-based IR this time. This time I used an IR of the 412 MRBW GNR MMMC package, which is based on a vintage 4x12 Marshall cabinet with a vintage greenback speaker. And I used the forward mix, or the FWD mix to be precise, from the GNR voicing option. And this cabinet seems to work very well together with this amplifier because it rounds off the fizz quite nicely and it adds a little bit of mids, which is also nice for this amplifier because sometimes this amp gets a little bit scooped. And all of that goes into the DAW, so that's very basic and simple. No post effects, no reverb and stuff like that. Of course, I did double track the guitars, one all the way on the right and one all the way on the left. And that really helps to give it that big stereo spread. It's something that I really recommend when you're recording your guitars. So yeah, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed the tones and the gear. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think. Would you buy any of these gear pieces? And if so, which one and why? Do let me know. You can also do me a huge favor by dropping a like and a subscribe along with the notification bell if you haven't already. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!